It was the last day of school, and excitement filled the air as we eagerly awaited the sound of the final bell. The sun was shining brightly through the windows, casting long shadows across the empty hallways. My friends and I were making plans for the summer ahead, laughing and joking as we gathered our belongings. But as the minutes ticked by, a sense of unease began to settle over me. Something felt off, like a whisper of danger brushing against the back of my mind. I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was just nerves about leaving for summer break. Finally, the bell rang, signaling the end of the school year. Cheers erupted throughout the building as students flooded out of classrooms and into the halls. But as I joined the throng of excited classmates, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I followed my friends outside, the warm breeze carrying the scent of freshly cut grass. But as we made our way towards the school gates, I noticed a figure standing in the shadows near the entrance. It was tall and slender, its features obscured by the darkness. I tried to ignore it, chalking it up to my overactive imagination. But as we passed by, I caught a glimpse of its eyes glowing red orbs that seemed to pierce right through me. A shiver ran down my spine as I quickened my pace, eager to put as much distance between myself and whatever that thing was. We made it to the gates and spilled out onto the sidewalk, the sounds of laughter and chatter surrounding us. But as I turned to say goodbye to my friends, I realized they were gone. I was alone, the empty streets stretching out before me like a desolate wasteland. Panic surged through me as I searched frantically for any sign of life. But the streets were eerily quiet, devoid of any movement or sound. It was as if the world had suddenly frozen in time, leaving me stranded in this strange, empty place. I stumbled forward, my heart pounding in my chest as I tried to make sense of what was happening. Every shadow seemed to conceal some lurking horror, and I felt as though I was being watched from all sides. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the silence, sending chills down my spine. It was low and guttural, filled with malice and hatred. I turned to run, but I found myself face to face with the figure from earlier. It loomed over me, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips as it reached out with long, gnarled fingers. And then, everything went black. When I woke up, I was back in the school hallway, the sounds of laughter and chatter filling the air once more. My friends were by my side, asking if I was okay. But as I looked around, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was different. As we made our way outside, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread that washed over me. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, but I knew that somewhere, lurking in the shadows, something sinister was waiting. And as the final bell rang, signaling the end of the school year, I couldn't help but wonder, was it truly the end, or was it just the beginning of something far more terrifying? Today was supposed to be a day of celebration. The last day of school, the end of exams, and the beginning of a long-awaited summer vacation. But for me, it turned into something far darker. As the final bell rang, I gathered my books and headed towards my locker, eager to dump everything inside and forget about school for a while. But as I reached for the combination lock, I realized something was wrong. The numbers refused to click into place, no matter how many times I tried. Confused, I glanced around to see if anyone else was having trouble. But the hallway was empty, the other students already rushing out to enjoy their freedom. I tried to ignore the sinking feeling in my stomach as I continued to fumble with the lock. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I managed to open the locker. But instead of the familiar sight of my textbooks and notebooks, I was met with darkness. It was as if the locker stretched on forever, swallowing everything in its path. I reached inside tentatively, my hand disappearing into the void. But before I could pull it back, something grabbed hold of me. I tried to scream, but the sound caught in my throat as I was pulled into the darkness. When I came to, I found myself in a strange, dimly lit corridor. Lockers lined the walls, stretching on as far as the eye could see. But there was something off about them, something sinister lurking in the shadows. I stumbled forward, my heart pounding in my chest as I tried to find a way out. But no matter which direction I went, the corridor seemed to stretch on endlessly, twisting and turning in on itself like a maze. And then I heard it. A soft whispering, like the sound of someone speaking just out of earshot. I froze, my blood turning to ice as the voices grew louder, surrounding me from all sides. I tried to block them out, telling myself it was just my imagination running wild. But the voices persisted, growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment. And then I saw it. A figure standing at the end of the corridor, its features obscured by the shadows. It beckoned to me, a skeletal hand outstretched in invitation. I knew I should run, to flee as fast as my legs could carry me, but something compelled me forward, drawing me inexorably towards the figure. And as I reached out to touch it, the world around me dissolved into darkness once more. When I woke up, I was back in the school hallway, the sound of laughter and chatter echoing in my ears. But as I glanced at my locker, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. Something had been awakened within me, something dark and terrible that would haunt me for the rest of my days. The final day of school arrived with a sense of relief and excitement. Students hurriedly packed their belongings, eager to leave the confines of the classroom behind and embrace the freedom of summer. But for me, the day would take a turn into the unknown. As the last bell rang, I joined the stream of students making their way out of the building. But as I passed by a hallway leading to an old wing of the school, something caught my eye, a flicker of movement, a flash of light coming from an open door. Against my better judgment, I veered off the path and entered the abandoned corridor. The air was stale and musty, the walls lined with faded posters and peeling paint. I could hear the distant sound of laughter and chatter fading away as I ventured deeper into the forgotten wing. I reached the end of the hallway and pushed open the door to the last classroom. What I saw inside made my blood run cold. The room was empty, save for a single desk in the center of the room. And sitting at the desk was a figure cloaked in darkness, its features obscured by shadows. I should have turned and run, should have fled from whatever malevolent presence lurked within that room. But something compelled me forward, drawing me towards the figure like a moth to a flame. As I got closer, I could see that the figure was not alone. It was surrounded by a swirling mass of darkness, tendrils reaching out and curling around it like a protective cloak. And then it spoke a voice like gravel, filled with malice and hatred. It whispered secrets and promises of power, each word sending a chill down my spine. I tried to turn and flee, but the darkness was everywhere, closing in around me like a vice. I felt its icy grip tightening around my throat, suffocating me with its presence. And then everything went black. When I woke up, I was lying on the floor of the abandoned classroom, the sunlight streaming in through the windows. I stumbled to my feet, my head swimming with confusion and fear. As I made my way back to the main hallway, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. Something had been awakened within me, something dark and powerful that would forever alter the course of my life.